Check. My name is Greg Hemmings. I'm a television producer, young entrepreneur, adventurer, and a blogger. This story begins a little over a year ago at a Christmas party in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. I chatted with this guy I met at the party. The guy's name is Dave Veale. Meeting Dave is where I start the story. But hold on, let's rewind a bit. The year was 1995, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I knew I had an interest in filmmaking, so I ended up starting an exciting production company with 3 of my friends. Our first project was called East Coast Breakdown, a documentary about the Atlantic Canadian bluegrass scene. Music documentaries, however, were becoming my passion. And we started producing a lot of them. Documentaries like Revolve, Songs of Solidarity, and A Head's Tale. We learned a lot about business, partnerships, video production, and most of all, about relationships. We also got into a lot of trouble financially with none of us having any clue how to deal with the books. It didn't take long before I realized that filmmaking wasn't all fun and adventure. In fact, I would argue that only 5% of the time you're producing. The other 95% you're running a business. Yes, we were running our business. Unfortunately, we were running it into the ground. Don't get me wrong, we did find a lot of success. We were becoming known in the business community and also in the television and music communities. I even was honored with the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award from the St. John Board of Trade. One of our first projects was a motocross instructional video, led by world motocross legend Marty Smith. We were honored with an Extreme Award in Los Angeles for Best Instructional Video. I was nominated for Music Industry Professional of the Year at the East Coast Music Awards, and we were in the paper all the time. Things looked great on the outside for sure, but we were falling apart on the inside. This is where we get to the part of the story where I meet Coach Dave. Dave asked me a question. Do you want to continue living in an unhealthy working environment, or do you want to make a fresh start? Heavy words to hear when you're an entrepreneur trying to find your way. I thought about this over the next 6 months. And when things with our business went from bad to worse, my 2 partners and I decided to part ways. As it turned out, Dave also left his company and started a new one, all centered around business coaching. What is business coaching? I asked him. He told me, business coaching is about partnering with a leader and unleashing their full potential. So here I am now, over a year later, recording this podcast summarizing the wild ride. Let's rewind one more time to the first time that Dave and I met to discuss my coaching relationship with him. I didn't get that first coaching session on tape, but he requested that I fill out a thing that he called a 360 feedback form. This is where I send out a questionnaire to 10 or so people who know me well enough and that I trust to give honest feedback. I send it mostly to people who have hired me in the past, people who I've worked for, people who have worked for me or with me, and others who I just plain old respect in the business community. It was a weird and humbling experience to go through this actually, but I was curious to see what the results would be. Dave and I would then meet to have our first coaching session to get the ball rolling.
What it is about coaching that you know at this point that helped you to take the plunge?
I don't have too much being coached experience, and I guess that's kind of the purpose of me doing this documentary, is to really find out what the purpose and the philosophy of coaching is.
What are the opportunities you're not taking the most advantage of? What are you looking for?
I've got a ton of potential. I've got a lot of great ideas. Being coached through that would be very beneficial because I'm wasting too much time doing, fixing up mess-ups when I should be behind a camera, editing, producing, directing.
Right.
I went into it expecting Dave to give me the 3 steps to success. But instead, he started asking me probing questions to help me discover what was keeping me from achieving my true potential.
What is it that you need to be doing between now and the next time we meet?
What I learned was that coaching is about action. My actions coming from this session were to hire an accountant and a bookkeeper. I was spending way too much time doing something I wasn't good at. The second action was to get the 360 feedback form completed. It was probably the most pride-defeating, eye-opening experience I ever put myself through. I read all my strengths first. It was encouraging, but I already knew most of my strengths. It said things like, Greg is a nice guy, he's creative, honest, positive, friendly, easy to get along with, yada yada yada. That was all fine and well, but then I had to read my weaknesses. Wait, Dave calls them growth areas. I read things like, Greg is sloppy, he can be unreliable, he rushes through things, he lacks focus, his accounting records are hideous. Come on. After I read some of these comments, I swallowed my pride and realized, hey, if someone that I trust wrote this, then it means they noticed it, and I guess I should pay attention. My next coaching session with Dave was pretty cool because we actually went over a lot of the 360. I think this so far is the most intense part of our training session. Going through my positive characteristics, it was really nice, but it was like, okay, I know that. Yeah. And then going through the parts that I need to develop, for the most part, they were pretty dead on, you know. So there's nothing really new in here.
These are things you're aware of.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah,
and, you know, there's a few that I disagree with, which I don't know if you were able to read that, and maybe you brought it as a printout. But it'd be cool to go over those as well, because obviously somebody's thinking it,
right,
you know.
Right.
Dave was encouraging and applauded me for going through this experiment with an open mind. We also talked about what my current challenges were. It was obvious. There comes a point in your business as a sole operator when you can take on no more work. There's only so much you can do on your own. We discussed me finding a way to hire an employee. I didn't think I could afford it, but Dave argued that I couldn't afford not to.
Hiring this person is critical to your success.
Exactly.
Okay, you have someone in mind.
Yeah.
Is it a good fit?
Oh, it's a perfect fit. He's been working, as an independent filmmaker for quite some time. Hasn't made $1 doing it yet. I've hired him a couple times.
My request that you can accept, reject, or negotiate. Shut off, the fact that you like this guy and all this stuff, and make sure from this administrative side, this is someone who you can trust.
Right, indeed.
Because you talked about it earlier. To really dig in and do this, and do it in a way that you feel confident, that you can let it go. Can you do that?
I can totally do that. After accepting Dave's request, I decided to hire a young filmmaker I had met earlier in the year at a music festival. His name was Andrew McCormick. He didn't have very much experience, but our personalities clicked, and my gut was telling me that he was the right person to hire.
I remember the day that Greg actually asked me if I was interested in working for him. I had hitchhiked 4 hours to volunteer with him. I'd volunteered with him a few times. And he sat me down at lunch and threw out the idea, would I be interested in coming to work for him? And obviously at the time if I was volunteering to work for him, obviously I'd love to come work for him. And he really made it clear that it had to be someone he could trust and someone that was dedicated and passionate. And he really threw me in the fire right off the bat, because he was doing so many other things. He just had so much work that it wasn't possible for one person to handle.
Hiring Andrew gave me the peace of mind and ability to do more traveling gigs, and I travel a lot. I was in Hawaii directing an episode for a television show called Planet Luxury. I was filming the world's most expensive acoustic guitar. During my downtime, I was able to meet up with legendary surf coach Mitch Alapa. Traveling to meet coaches of all sorts was really helping me to understand what truly inspires people to coach.
My name's Mitchell Kanoilani Alapo. And I'm a beach boy. Coaching to me is like being a kumu. A kumu is a teacher that shares his knowledge with people that he cares about. Pretty kumu comes my way. Her name's Wiki. Oh, Wiki Waikiki. The water is mightier than us. We cannot control the ocean. We cannot control the water. And all we can do is control what we got, which is ourselves. It's about respect, respecting the ocean, respecting the people that are teaching you this, and that's how you become a teacher of how to coach someone else. You have to know how to coach yourself. And if you can't coach yourself You won't be able to coach anybody else. Down in old La Bay.
Do you remember earlier when I mentioned the Extremely Award we got for the Marty Smith Motocross DVD? Well, when I was in Los Angeles receiving the award, I got to ask Marty about his life as a motocross coach.
I think the inspiration is just me hating to lose. I hated to lose racing, whether it was a novice or a pro. And my inspiration was just being the best, being better than everybody. When I first came in, I saw the guys that were the heroes and the guys that everybody looked up to and interviewed and were on TV. And now it's like, that's who I want to be. I don't want anybody to be better than me.
Marty's coaching style of pushing people to be the very best is not exactly what I've learned from other coaches. But talking to Marty made me realize I don't need to be the best filmmaker in the world. I just need to be the best I can be and keep getting better at what I do and how I live every day. Anyway, now that I'm here in Los Angeles in the Hollywood Hills, I figured this is a perfect place to touch base with an acting coach.
I'm Melissa Scoff, and I'm a casting director and an acting coach. I had a helping hand in the early careers of people like Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn and Jim Carrey. When they walk in the room, you see it, you get it, because they're already so far along in terms of who they are and what their skills are. And also they believed in themselves, and it comes from the inside out. And that's what my job is to bring out that person's essence and allow it to shine so brightly that everybody can see it.
I just got out of that wonderful, wonderful interview with Melissa, and wow, she had some great things to say about being an acting coach and a casting director. Such an honor to meet her and get her perspective on coaching. Right now, unfortunately, it's 7 o'clock. I was supposed to meet Pam Richard for dinner at 6:30. I'm half an hour late, and I've been driving for 2 hours trying to get there. And once Dave hears about this, he's gonna love to ask me why I didn't make any plans to to get here on time. Anyhow, I really shouldn't be filming myself as I'm driving in this traffic.
The purist coaching is you're just being there and you're reflecting the brilliance of the client and helping them to clarify what it is they really want to do. And I think, as we discussed, reminding you of what you know already. My goal, and the reason I went to get my doctorate, is to help determine what is the way of being in relationship that facilitates transformational learning, connection, and clarity, which ultimately will help to create, in my humble understanding, a more peaceful cohabitation of the planet on a global scale in this flat world we live in now.
Go my yellow bully and drive on.
After a very long flight, here I am 24 hours later in beautiful Sunshine Coast, BC. Quite a different shoreline than California yesterday, but that's the joys of being a documentary maker, being able to come to all these places at so many different times of my life. So I'm gonna go check out this beautiful coastline of British Columbia, and we'll meet up with Allison. One thing is clear. Every coach that I've met so far has stressed the importance of every coach having their own coach. This brings us to Allison Hendren. Allison is basically a coaching guru in my eyes, and is actually Coach Dave's coach.
Well, I'm Allison Hendren, and we are here on the Sunshine Coast, just outside of Seashelt, overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and I'm an executive coach.
I had the opportunity to, of course, meet with Pam last night.
Oh, right.
And why don't you tell me about your relationship with her, because you guys have a special connection, and about what she means to the whole coaching world.
Well, she has been just fundamental in the growth of this profession. And how I got to know Pam is she was my coach, and brilliant at it, and made a huge difference in the success that I have had as a coach because of the coaching she's done with me and the things that she made me look at and figure out. You know what it really is? It's really about focus, commitment, perseverance, determination, and patience, and willingness to go after something you really believe in, making sure that you surround yourself with people who believe in you and will hang in with you even through, the challenging times. The philosophy of coaching is about that it's all within us. That a really fantastic coach is there to bring it out of us and to believe that we have all the answers and all the thoughts and all the ideas and we can actually, that we are capable and whole and able to make whatever happen in our lives.
Hearing Allison's philosophy of coaching, that it is all within us, helped me understand why Dave was always so curious about what I thought. Engaging people this way has created a high demand in the business community for coaching training. Allison is an industry leader in the field of coaching. She teaches a coaching course at Royal Roads University, and she has developed a real effective short-term coaches crash course that helps people in business better understand the coach approach over a period of a day or two.
I really recognized the need for something that was simple for people, everyone, to learn coaching. So what I decided to do was design something and kind of synthesize down what I felt were the key pieces of it. And it is designed to give basic core coaching skills to leaders and managers in organizations so that they can then use that competency of coaching with their people. I am very involved with Royal Roads University in their executive coaching program. I've been doing that now for 3 years, and I am the director of training for it as well as the faculty person. It's ICF accredited, and we have attracted some fabulous, fabulous learners who are recognizing how important it is to learn the skill of coaching.
After Allison told me all about Royal Roads University, I thought it would make the most sense for me to travel over to Vancouver Island and see it for myself. Allison arranged for me to meet the director of the Center for Applied Leadership and Management at Royal Roads.
We're standing in the Italian garden at Royal Roads University with our flagship building behind us, the castle. Royal Roads University is the home of the Graduate Certificate in Executive Coaching program. I think now we're about 50-50 what I would call internal coaches and external coaches. So external coaches who have their own private coaching practices, and then coaches who are internal to organizations, who are developing a coaching culture inside their organization that really serves to add value to their leadership development programs.
What I learned at Royal Roads is that organizations are creating cultures around coaching principles. Allison Meredith told me about a great example of this in Trail, BC, at Kootenay Savings. A company called Full Spectrum Coaching worked with another Royal Roads grad named Sue Bach to integrate a coaching culture into the credit union. I decided it would be good to visit with them, as they were just finishing their coaching training. To see with my own eyes how large corporations could benefit from business coaching as much as I have was very cool.
It's the relationships. It's the building of relationships. And Kootenay Savings is built on relationships. And what I wanted to be able to do is support them to bring that into the environment for their employees.
The role of the people that will be certified is not to coach every single person in the organization, however. It's to coach the coaches to be better at what they're doing, the people that are working day to day with the frontline employees.
The best way that I've seen so far in working through this coaching is you develop leaders by coaching them so that they can find within them really what the answers are.
Coach approach, you get to borrow other people's wisdom, other people's knowledge, other people's experiences, and they solve the problems for themselves, which ultimately solves problems for you. So it's a win-win.
If I feel like the company values me, which is what's happened to me because of the coaching, I think that it doesn't matter who you are. It's a nicer way to do business.
They're taking it right to the core. The executive management team is being coached. They're building a coaching culture. They've got internal coaches trained. It's a bright, bright future for those folks.
And now to see a Royal Roads grad, Sue, today, take this work into an organization, to have the organization then embrace it. That's the bouncing ball. And then, wow, what if more of our people actually learned how to coach? And even better, the CEO and his team are learning as well. So to me, that's the whole dream right there.
Dave Bussey and I ended up flying back to Vancouver to meet up with his wife, Marge. As it turns out, Marge was in the midst of coaching another large organization, the Vancouver Aquarium.
I'd like to welcome you to the Vancouver Aquarium. And I've been doing some coaching work here for about 2.5 years. And it's been fabulous, and there's such a great organization and fun company to work with. And I'm really excited, and I want to show you the aquarium.
Coaching is something I've been working and learning about since I've become a manager in my past. I've also had a fantastic coach who's come into the aquarium. We actually have coaching sessions set up for us by our human resources department, dealing with conflict or how to do performance evaluations or just, coaching staff one-on-one.
Coaching for me would be empowering staff, empowering the person that you're with. So it's not necessarily motivating them or just teaching them something, because anybody can be taught something like a factual information, but instead we trying to inspire and to empower you, and I think that's what I do every day.
I mean, they take what we've learned together and the coaching as well as the coach development, they take that and run with it. So, I do a little piece of it, but it's just fabulous that they grab it and go, and it's pretty exciting.
I was amazed that the coach approach was so universal and could be applied to so many businesses. Allison invited me to join her and 2 other coaches, Fred Halstead and Amy Rupert, for a corporate executive coaching session at the Broman Medical Center in Bloomington, Illinois.
It's been my fortune to know the CEO of this organization for many years. I talked to him about the possibility of working with he and his executive team as a coach.
We realized very soon after we got into the process ourselves that this was not just a skill that was going to be utilized at one level of the organization. To be effective, we had to cascade that. But it has to start with the top of the organization. If there's not commitment to follow through and to model a behavior, it's not going to last and be sustained.
I think they enjoyed sharing their excitement. It was wonderful to see, actually, their excitement and their passion about what coaching has done for them. And when you're an executive coach and you work with people, sometimes you forget.
What the common denominator is that we really, and I'm reluctant to use the word motivate, because we're not motivators. We're really inspirers. And I think that that's the common denominator, whether it be sports coaching, voice coaching, acting coaching, or the type of personal business and executive coaching that I do. I think it's really that it's opening a person to learn, opening a person to push down the borders of what they know presently and expand that, and then expand what they believe is possible for themselves.
Here I am in Buffalo, New York, and right behind me here is the HSBC Arena, and inside I'm going to talk to the coach's coach, one of the most famous coaches in NHL history.
My name is Joe Crozier. I work for the Buffalo Sabres Hockey Club. I got, some pictures that I had. We did a story here, and also I got a little bit here about Don Cherry. I coached Don Cherry in Rochester, and they put it in the front here for the National Post here. It says, Joe Crozier, who played with John Beliveau and coached Don Cherry, has stuck with the hockey through thick and thin. So it just tells you I had my ups and downs a little bit, that's all. I'm a winner, I've always won. I always look for the edge, I look for the edge when I measure Dryden's pads, But me, I'll always be a coach, never mind what it is. So you do what you think's best, that's all there is to it, Anybody can be a loafer. And whenever you compete, you gotta try and be the best. I don't say that you should be the best, but you gotta try and be the best. Work as hard as you can to be the best if you can. But there's so many things, and look at other people, see what they're doing, how they're doing it, so that you can pick that up for you and help yourself.
The more I meet people passionate about coaching, the more I realize that at its core, coaching is about engaging people. It's that simple. I had another incredible honor this year, to film a session with a youth coach in St. Andrews, New Brunswick. Chandra Levitt uses her coach approach to encourage youth to become engaged, active, and passionate about their lives. The experience I had spending the day with these teens was eye-opening. I was really honored to see the power of coaching work in a room with such a diverse group of teens as they opened up, shared, and encouraged each other.
I'm Chandra Levitt. I'm a life coach, and I love to coach kids and parents. When I was growing up and when I was a teenager, I can remember just living in a bunch of fog and not knowing what I was supposed to do and not having really much support systems in place to help me or guide me to where I go next. And two, I find kids today are overwhelmed and they have so many decisions to make, and we program them from a young age to create a life that the outside kind of creates for them. And little do they know that really they have a choice in creating their own life. And I'd like to give them that power back and empower them to be whatever they want to be.
I don't want any regret. And for every choice that you make it the best choice no matter what the situation is.
The biggest thing, a lot of people think the coach is there to tell you what to do. I don't think it's that at all. I think they're there to get you talking so that you're telling them what you want to do, and they're there to listen to you more than to tell you what to do. I think they want to make you realize who you are, not tell you who you are.
The coaching buzz has spread to every business sector imaginable. A family lawyer from St. John, New Brunswick has championed the coach approach in her law practice and is changing the way families deal with disputes. According to Mary Eileen, the results are incredibly positive.
The collaborative process means that they sign a contract that they're not going to court, that they're going to settle. That's the essence of the collaborative process, and that the discussions are going to turn on what is important. Not what your legal rights are, but what is important. What's really motivating you, and what are the underlying concerns or needs that have to be satisfied. And then we measure the success of the outcome against whether or not these underlying needs were actually met. This coaching and communication style that's inherent in the collaborative process, it leaches into everything we do. You know, we're better at home. You know, our coaching and collaborative way of communicating and problem solving, we take it home. We take it to the boards that we work on, the charities that we serve, all of our not-for-profit, what we're doing in our faith communities. Like, all of these different areas benefit from this whole new way of approaching problems that's been accelerated by my personal coaching.
Besides filmmaking, my lifetime passion has been music. I've been a fan of all sorts of music, including, yes, 80s big-haired heavy metal. This is where the lead singer of hard rock legends Helix comes in. Brian Vollmer not only screams heavy metal into the microphone, he's also an opera singer and coaches a specialized style of opera singing called bel canto.
Welcome to Planet Helix.
Ryan, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Okay, you can be my vocal coach for the day here.
Okay, come on in.
Helix was formed in 1974. We released our first album on Capitol Records /EMI entitled No Rest for the Wicked. But I teach is called bel canto, and how I got into bel canto was this. I lost my voice. I probably taught a couple thousand people since I started teaching. Bel canto is the only way to sing, in my opinion. And the reason being that the human voice, unlike any other instrument, is a human voice. So if you abuse it, you're going to lose it, and you only have one, and it won't come back. I don't think you should ever quit taking lessons. I think you should always continue going to an instructor. There's always somebody better than you are. Aside from the music industry, almost anything you get into in life, you should do it, I think, with all you got, with a heart full of joy.
In April, I headed to southern France to attend a very important television industry event. I came here to see if I could sell some of my television shows internationally. All right, this is my first time in Cannes, France, to the very famous MIPCOM. This is the most important television industry event on earth, and I'm very happy to be here. I've got quite a few projects. I have a lot of anticipation for this. It's slightly nerve-wracking. Hopefully I'm prepared for this. Cannes is the place to be in the TV industry. Not only did it open my eyes tremendously, I was able to meet some of the most influential people in the television business. One producer I had a chance to talk to was actually a production coach on the side.
I'm Gary Bly. I'm a television producer. I'm probably the luckiest man on the planet.
Why are you the luckiest man on the planet?
Well, I've had a career that has allowed me to do the things that make me happy, to touch people, and to affect the human condition. Well, coaching is the ability to inspire people to do that which they don't even realize they can. That which we do right comes easy. That which we do wrong is what we learn from. And the object of good coaching is to see what we do wrong, build from that so that we can strive towards success.
After MIPCOM, my friend Federica, who is a co-producer for a film we shot in the Arctic called Melting Lands, and I drove to her hometown of Torino, Italy. I was to spend 3 weeks there editing the footage that we had filmed in the Arctic. While I was in the far north, I had a chance to actually go under the sea ice to collect mussels with an amazing Inuit man named Lukasi. Lukasi is a traditional hunter, and in a way, he is a coach. Lukasi passes on knowledge to the younger generations on how to live and how to keep the Inuit culture alive.
My son and grandson, they like it. They like to go outside and learn new things, what they never seen before. When they have nothing much to eat, when they know how to go under the ice, so they will be able to get some food for themselves.
Spending time with Lukasi and his grandson helped me realize that coaching is used in every facet of life. While I was in Torino editing Melting Lands, Federica introduced me to a very famous piano coach at the Torino Conservatory.
I'm Paolo Torallo. I'm a pianist and a musicologist. Now, we are in the Conservatory of Music of Turin, the same conservatory in which I was grown as a pupil and in which I'm now teaching as a professor. Any student is a personal case. For the maestro, everyone is different, and the teacher has to fit his teaching way case by case. With pupils, you have to be a teacher, a friend, a father, a psychologist. If you see some qualities that don't merge, you have to find the way to do it. Find this way, as my maestro often said, it is more difficult to think what I have not to say rather than I have to say, moment by moment.
After a long and exciting tour around the world filming different productions, I was able to get back into the groove at my office. My new hire, Andrew McCormick, was learning my style very quick, and he filled a huge hole for me. Things started to kick into action. I couldn't believe how much of a load having an employee took off my plate. It gave me time to focus, get organized, strategize, get into action. Our fourth coaching session was more for a celebration of my wins. I found a grant to help me pay for Andrew's salary. I outsourced my accounting. I was going for it.
Hey Greg, how are you? Good to see you. Excellent. Come on in. Like a lot of cool things have happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
You've been, traveling the friggin' world. You've been to France. Yeah. You've been to California. You've been to British Columbia.
Italy.
Italy. Like you've been a busy guy. Let's first celebrate, because coaching is really, part of it is about really celebrating people's successes, and you got a whole bunch of them. You're not just talking about what you're gonna do, you're doing it. You're hiring people, you're outsourcing things you shouldn't be doing. So, what do you need to do ongoing just to keep, reminding yourself of this fact?
I've already seen things, progress. Mm-hmm. I'm very positive about how things are going right now. Mm-hmm. There are a few opportunities that are coming up that I really need to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had a little bit of money, which, I've got a little bit of money potentially given to me to hire, to mentor, then that would be a real good thing. The coaching techniques that Dave taught me so far helped me coach myself into realize that we need even more help. This is where I hire Steve Foster, a business grad with some production background, a perfect fit.
Being coached, and I think, just years of experience has taught Greg that this is how you run a business. You find out what you're good at and you do that. Mm-hmm. Our goals are very aligned. There is a synergy here. There are some stressful times, but whether it's Andrew, showing us some yoga moves, or Greg, saying, okay, everyone shut down, we're going in the other room, gonna wail on the drums and guitar and bass and stuff. Let's just relax. And believe it or not, Greg's taken us out to lunch before.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that was a sign of success.
Well, yeah.
And he picked up the bill.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but he took us. He drove us. He used his gas, so that's great.
I gotta tell you, I'm really excited for Greg, because he's got people surrounding him that have the same vision he has. Now, how he's done that is part of his genius, ability to, try to crank stuff out, but to have fun. And I hear the synergy. I mean, that's exciting. And to hear these guys really, really feel that they're gonna, that this is the start of something great.
I was really beginning to feel the effects of Dave's positive reinforcement and encouragement. Having his objective feedback seemed to push us to a new level, and we soon landed our next television series, Wrestling Reality. It was an incredible experience. Everyone on the team ended up finding their place in the company, and we pulled together and figured out how to produce television all on our own.
A block! Head up. He's taking him upstairs. Titus doing one of his high-flying moves. That's what I told you. The outside. An Asai moonsault. He's 6'5".
Shooting the wrestling show was eye-opening in itself. The amount of training wrestlers go through to get to where they're at, the level of support that they give each other to succeed, it was very inspiring. One of the wrestlers, Gary Wildman Williams, is a wrestling trainer. It was amazing to see the devotion, respect, and loyalty involved in this sport. It didn't take me long to realize that Gary's more than a wrestling trainer. He's a real coach. In fact, he had his own wrestling school, the Wildman Academy.
You really have to take pride in training them. You can't just say, okay, here's your program, you're here for 10 weeks, and then you go home and that's it, whether you're fully trained or not. You really got to take it at heart, and you really have to get inside their heads and really teach them what wrestling really is. I mean, it's a really satisfying feeling once you've trained somebody. I'll never forget the first class that I did here at Wildman Academy, and they finally had their first match after they were completed their training. And I was sitting there, listening to their music hit, and as they're coming out for their match, I mean, I was more nervous for them than I was for myself at my first match. And that was a feeling that I really, really didn't expect. The thing is with coaching, if you walked in the ring and you were doing it strictly for money, obviously the passion's not there. The school is the same thing. You gotta have passion for it to do it, because it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of your time. And again, I'm not making money doing this,
Unfortunately, growth and success don't come without their fair share of challenges. After we finished producing the series, a legal issue came up with regards to who conceptualized the show. I was put into a very serious position, and I needed to remain calm and focused, which I wouldn't have been able to do before my coaching days, I'm sure. Dave coached me through it. This is where I realized how important having a thinking partner was, and how important it was to have a coach and a team that gave me the support and confidence needed to push forward and deal with the situation. It's spiraling into many deeper things. We came to a settlement price to buy this guy off, to get rid of him.
Right. Wow.
It's being dealt with right now. I've got a bunch of people, lawyers and whatnot, trying to deal with it right now, but the guy's not accepting payment options and all this sort of stuff. And it's been sucking the life and the soul out of me. Yeah, and that's very evident. I'm sure my employees and friends and family can attest to it.
You need money to help you survive the next 2 months.
Yeah.
if you could get that money, would you be like, is this little, so in a sense, if there's this little gap, if you can make it across this, do you feel like you'd be okay?
Yeah, I know it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it would, what would that do for you if you could find something to help you for 2 months cash?
The stress level would go down incredibly, and then I could focus.
Okay.
And
okay. So this is interesting. So the ability to focus is tied to this 2 month period, and how do you manage this gap in cash?
Yeah. We pulled through as a team of coaches, as a team of friends. At the darkest hour of our growth, we managed to work together and get through it. Our company had a bad habit of always being in reactive mode. It's something we identified with Coach Dave in our 7th coaching session. We wanted to avoid always having to deal with reactive situations and replace them with proactive situations. Our strategy was to become very disciplined in documenting and understanding what we had coming at us and how to manage it effectively. This created a need for me to hire new people, and our team grew. Being more proactive also meant that I could join Coach Dave at the International Coach Federation's annual conference, this time in Long Beach, California. The coaching industry is governed by the ICF and has 15,000 coaches from over 92 different countries. What a great opportunity to meet some of the world's top coaches right in their industry. I had the pleasure and opportunity to meet coaching pioneer Sir John Whitmore. He's regarded as the grandfather of business coaching.
Well, it's expanded enormously. I mean, there were literally a handful of people doing it to begin with. I mean, I was in the UK. We started in the UK. And I have a background in sport, and my 2 colleagues at that time were background in sport, and we just called this stuff coaching.
I think coaching is a real vehicle for people to take action, and where it probably distinguishes itself from many of the other fields is in the terms of coaches help people hold themselves accountable to themselves, to take their own responsibility. Life has speeded up so fast technologically that we've actually lost a part of the human element of interrelatedness. And so I think that's why coaching is actually here.
So you need somebody who's going to hold some space for you to think things through on your own. And that's what coaches do. And it's becoming more and more mainstream and accepted in the world of executives.
And my particular target is to work with folks that are really doing exceptionally well, but could go to that next level. If you're interested in continual improvement, change, and growth, then the coach can truly facilitate that.
We are all in this together. That actually makes me emotional. We're all on this planet together, and I really want us to be able to connect and look after each other and really know that we can be who we are meant to be.
I think part of what I like about coaching is sharing in other people's journeys as well. And there's so much possibility. And there's so much potential in all of us. And just how exciting is it to be able to understand that and to see that and to tap into that and to encourage that and to embrace that.
You're probably thinking that this crowd came to the airport to see me after hearing all about my adventures. But nah, I just can't lie. I was just acting as a stand-in for the legendary country singer Chris Cummings for our latest music video shoot. Producing a big-budget music video was a real win for us, and we're really pumped. Coach Dave always encourages me, now us, to celebrate our wins. I don't want to be too overexcited about where we have grown in the last year, but man, it's overwhelming. Our team has grown from just 1 man to a team of 9. I owe a lot to Coach Dave and the coach approach. But mostly I owe it to the team I've collected as we strive for the same vision, to work in a career that fulfills us, challenges us, encourages us, and of course pays us. Coaching has allowed me to grow and pursue what I'm most passionate about, filmmaking. I've been able to travel the world over and over again. I've met some of the most amazing people on earth, but most importantly, the coach approach has helped me develop a successful business, doing the things that I love and working alongside some of my best friends.
To me, coaching is what leverages a person's leadership to a whole new level, a level they couldn't have imagined.
And once they find that and they know that they can do that, the confidence level starts to just explode. And the sky's the limit, so to speak. So if you're looking to develop your employees and make your organization successful, I'd say fairly quickly, coaching is definitely the way to go.
These are transformational experiences when we work with our clients in a deep and meaningful way. It's transformative. This is a skill that everybody needs to have, and what a difference it can make in all facets of life, because we're tapping into each other and we're being loving, really, and caring and supportive, and really recognizing everyone has unique talents and abilities. And coaching is designed to bring that out of them.